The history of the world is filled with tragic events, but some incidents shake the conscience of humanity like nothing else. One such event occurred on August 6 and 9, 1945, when the United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. These were the days when humanity witnessed, for the first time, the use of nuclear weapons against human beings. These attacks not only marked the end of World War II but also left a permanent scar on the face of human civilization that still burns with the same intensity decades later. The Second World War began in 1939 when Germany invaded Poland, plunging the world into a deadly conflict. Germany, Italy, and Japan formed one bloc, while the United States, the United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, and other allied nations stood on the other side. Japan's expansionist ambitions had created terror throughout East Asia. Countries like China, Korea, and the Philippines were already under Japanese aggression. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked the American naval base at Pearl Harbor, forcing the United States to enter the war. Following this, the U.S. not only declared war on Japan but also launched a secret project to develop nuclear weapons, known as the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project was the first and most extensive scientific effort in the world, with the sole objective of developing the atomic bomb. Some of the greatest scientific minds of the time were part of it, including Albert Einstein, Robert Oppenheimer, and Enrico Fermi. On July 16, 1945, the first successful nuclear test was conducted in the deserts of New Mexico. After witnessing its destructive power, it was decided that the atomic bomb would be used to force Japan into surrender, thereby avoiding the heavy casualties that would result from a full-scale ground invasion. On August 6, 1945, at exactly 8:15 a.m., the American bomber, Enola Gay, dropped the atomic bomb codenamed Little Boy over Hiroshima. In a matter of seconds, the entire city was engulfed in fire and destruction. Nearly 80,000 people died instantly, and within the following months, the death toll exceeded 100,000. About 70% of the city was completely destroyed. Homes, schools, hospitals, roads, everything was turned to ash. People with scorched bodies were crying out for water. Some died while trying to drink water from contaminated sources, which had turned radioactive and more poisonous due to the blast. On August 9, a second bomb named Fat Man was dropped on Nagasaki. Although Nagasaki was a hilly region that somewhat mitigated the intensity of the blast, around 40,000 people still died instantly, with the death toll later surpassing 70,000. These two attacks became the most devastating acts of violence in human history. Children, women, elderly, innocent civilians were thrown into a whirlpool of death, disease, and eternal pain. The immediate effects of the atomic bomb were horrific, but the long-term aftermath was even more terrifying. The survivors suffered from severe burns, disfigurement, blindness, and internal injuries. Many became permanently disabled. The radiation caused cancers, blood disorders, and genetic mutations. Even the children born to the survivors carried the burden of these effects. Many were born with physical deformities and mental disabilities. Japan's economy was utterly destroyed. Its industries were wiped out. Its cities had turned into ashes. Infrastructure worth billions was lost, and millions were left homeless. In addition to the physical destruction, the psychological trauma was so severe that people struggled to return to any semblance of normal life for years. Countless children were orphaned. Mothers searched in vain for their missing children. Entire families were wiped off the face of the earth. The use of the atomic bomb raised moral questions that are still being debated. Some argue it was necessary to end the war quickly, but others see it as an inexcusable crime against humanity. Was Japan not already on the verge of surrender? Could the war have ended without using such horrific weapons? The answers may vary, but one truth remains: the loss of innocent lives on such a massive scale can never be justified. Only 6 days after the bombings, on August 15, Japan announced its unconditional surrender, and on September 2, 1945, the war formally ended. Japan dissolved its military and, under U.S. supervision, adopted a new democratic constitution. The country pledged never to go to war again and redirected its efforts toward rebuilding and modernization. The survivors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki became known as Hibakusha. These people not only bore physical and mental trauma but also suffered social discrimination within Japanese society. Over time, The government introduced medical aid and financial support programs for them, but the wounds never truly healed. Even today, those who lived through this horror travel the world carrying a message of peace, determined to ensure that no other generation experiences what they did. Today, Hiroshima hosts a peace museum that details the atomic bombing through artifacts, photographs, and personal stories of survivors. Every year on August 6, a solemn ceremony is held at the Peace Memorial, attended by people from around the world. This day is not just for remembrance, it is a powerful reminder that war is never the answer. After the atomic bombings, the world recognized the urgency of preventing nuclear warfare. Several treaties were signed, including the 1968 Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty (NPT), to curb the spread of nuclear arms. Yet, even today, many nations possess nuclear weapons, and mankind still walks the dangerous line between reason and destruction. Hiroshima and Nagasaki will forever remind us that there are no winners in a nuclear war. The immense loss of innocent lives, generations of disease, and ruined economies all prove that peace is the only true path to survival. We must work together to eliminate nuclear weapons, abandon political arrogance, and put human life above all else. This incident was not just the end of a war but a lasting message to all of humanity. A message we must remember every day: not war, but peace; not hatred, but love; not destruction, but life. If we are truly a civilized species, we must never again allow the use of nuclear weapons.